Today's sunshine note is titled Sickos. Before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, surrounded the house, and they called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us that we may have relations with them." Genesis 19, verses 4 and 5. I am not sure that there could be anything more terrifying than being surrounded by a group of people full of hate and probably alcohol, threatening to tear you limb from limb if you don't do as they ask. Without going into great detail, I have seen what happened when a combination of poor values and alcohol devastated the life of a young girl. The sickness of the acts that a group of young men participated in against the will of this young woman can be described only as something you would read about in an Old Testament account of debauchery. How do people get to the place where they can take part in such heinous activities? How can a person become so wicked that they would join a gang of people, stand outside the house of a neighbor, and demand that the guest of the house be released into their hands so they can have relations with them? How can a person get that mentally and spiritually deranged? Well, the answer I have for you is, I don't know. It is beyond me. But it happens. There are people who traffic in human slaves, sell young girls into prostitution, and participate in child pornography with seemingly no struggle of conscience. I don't know how a person can become so devoid of love. But I do know that when people sink that low, they have likely banished the Holy Spirit from their lives so thoroughly that God will be forced to leave them with their sin, and the sin they cling to will bring the wrath of God, either in their lifetime or if not on this earth at the end of time. In the case of Sodom, it was sooner rather than later, and the natural result of God's Spirit being completely withdrawn, leaving a group of people to their sin, is frightening to see. God's wrath can be described as the wages of sin. When He is forced to turn His back and leave a person to their sin, it is a pretty scary thing. Before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, surrounded the house, and they called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, that we may have relations with them." Genesis 19, verses 4 and 5. May God bless you today.